Thank you. So very happy to be here today, and had the privilege of playing with the Canadian national hockey team from 1998 through to 2010, so 4 Olympic Games, which was an incredible experience for me, and all came on the heels of graduating from Brown University, spending 4 years there playing hockey. Ben had mentioned that there's 4,000 schools in the States, and it's kind of hard to navigate, so I'll just give you one piece of information. Brown's the best one. So. No, I did love my time there, and just to give you a bit of background on myself, I grew up with a passion for hockey, not surprising, but at a time when it really wasn't normal for girls to like hockey. And so I think I became very accustomed to doing things differently in my life and feeling that it was okay to do things differently. But I grew up with this passion for hockey and had parents that encouraged that, and so my parents would take me to games. We'd watch a lot of hockey games on TV. And had the opportunity to go to the 1987 Canada Cup, Canada versus the Soviet Union, in Hamilton at Copps Coliseum. And it really ignited something in me, a real passion for that jersey and for playing for your country. 3 years later, I was watching hockey again with my father. It was the first ever Women's World Hockey Championships. And we were watching in my living room. And that's the first time that I actually said, that's what I want. And I put that goal out there. And it's a goal that I've had for a very long time. And it was pretty concrete. I knew by the time I was 15 years old, I wanted to play for Team Canada. What I didn't know was how I was going to get there. And so I had been taking things day at a time, season at a time, had different ideas about how I wanted to get to that goal. I had been approached by the coach at the University of Toronto at one point in my life and thought maybe that was something that I wanted to do. But the NCAA isn't something that had really factored in. I hadn't given it a lot of thought until I went to a hockey school or a hockey camp the summer before my last year of high school. And I was in Michigan, and at that camp was the coaches of Princeton, Brown, and Cornell. And so it was the first time I really had my eyes open to the possibilities of playing NCAA sports. And so I had decided in the fall to go on a recruiting trip with my parents and take a look at Brown and Princeton. And for me, it was that idea of opening up my mind to the possibilities and actually stepping foot on those campuses to explore what they had to offer. I got to Brown, I got to Princeton, I saw the rink, I met the coach. I went to the cafeteria with some of the players, I met the team. I really saw everything the school had to offer. I went to classes as a recruit so that I could put myself in a day of the life of a Brown student or of a Princeton student just to see what it was all about. And I think taking that time to really open up and to explore was what made this decision a little more simple for me. I got in the car on the way home from Princeton. It was my second stop, and my dad said to me, "So?" And I said back, "It's Brown." And both schools were great. Both coaches were amazing. They both had great hockey programs, but it took that time to explore and to meet people and to really get a feel for what the school was like to understand that Brown was the right fit for me. And we have to be able to spend those 4 years in an environment that we're happy with and comfortable with. And so it took me stepping out to figure that out. And it wasn't an easy decision. You've got to understand that at the time, most of the high-level women's hockey players in my age group were opting to stay in Canada. And they felt that was what was going to give them the best opportunity to make the national team. And so for me, again, I had to look at things differently. I felt that Brown was going to give me the best possibility for success. And training for the Olympics, we had a sports psychologist that worked with us quite often, especially going into the 2010 Olympics. And the one afternoon, he had given us a presentation. We were in a pretty grueling training phase, and we were doing things much differently than every other team in the world. And so there were times where we questioned what we were doing because it's hard to be different sometimes. And we came in, and he had a slide up on a board, and it said, "Winning is abnormal." And I remember looking at that slide, and he finally came into the room and he said to us, "How many teams will win at the end of the season?" And it's a pretty simple question. We said 1. He said, "How many teams will lose?" I said, "Well, everybody else." He said, "If one person were to stand up in this room and behave differently than everyone else, we would say they're not normal." He said, "Winning is not normal. By definition, winning is not normal. So if you want to achieve abnormal results, you need to behave abnormally every day." And I look back at my decision to go to Brown, and really that's what it felt like. I was doing something much different than everyone else, but that's what I felt I needed to do to give myself the best possibility, the best opportunity for success. And in training again for the Olympics, that really was our focus, because we can't control so many things in our environment. As an athlete, we can't control the opposition or the officials. There's so many things out of our control, but our own level of preparation is what we have. And so for me, the idea of choosing Brown was what I thought gave me the best opportunity to be successful. And so I kind of rolled the dice and decided I was going to take advantage of this great 4-year experience to try to get myself to that ultimate goal of making Team Canada. But I also went down to Brown knowing that, yes, I thought it was the right fit, but I wanted to explore every avenue the school had to offer, because I wasn't just going to go down and be a hockey player. And so I got on campus, I talked to the softball coach, I was a walk-on to the softball team, had 4 unbelievable years playing softball as well as hockey. I got a part-time job. I worked for food services in the bake shop for 4 years and met a whole different set of people that I could develop relationships with. I went to Brown specifically because they had an education program, a concurrent ed program, so I did my student teaching while I was at the school as well, and had again the opportunity to go off campus and to work at a low-income private school to do my student teaching. And so I think having that balance was so important as well, and picking a university that offered all those different options for me. So again, I went there specifically with the idea that I wanted to make Team Canada, that hockey was a big goal of mine, but to see what else that school had to offer. And the only way to do that is to really explore. I really look forward to the opportunity to speak to any of you that would like to learn a little bit more about my experiences, and good luck today. Thank you for having me.